Hey, it's Brady at LaSalle Mortgage. So if you're watching this, it means you're officially on your way with your mortgage application. So congratulations, and we're off and running. Now, the packet of documents that you've received for electronic signature are called your initial loan disclosures. And I know what you're thinking. Do I really need to read all of this? The short answer is not really. The long answer is kinda. But I'll explain exactly what matters so you can breeze through it with confidence. Here's the deal. The federal government requires lenders to send these disclosures within 3 business days of starting your loan. That means we have to send them out before every single little detail is perfect. Think of them like a snapshot, a timestamp showing that we disclosed your estimated terms and costs early in the process. They're not final numbers. They're not your forever loan terms. They're just step one in the paper trail that keeps everything transparent and compliant. You're going to see a ton of documents, but only two really matter right now: your loan application and your loan estimate. When you open your application, double check a few key details: your name, your social security number, your birthday, your citizenship, and your current address. These things need to be right from the start. Everything else, job title, years of employment, asset bank statement balances, your debts and obligations, they might look a little off, and that's totally fine. We'll clean all that up later when we verify your info during the underwriting process. One thing that throws people off: you're going to be asked to sign and acknowledge these disclosures even if something's not 100% accurate. Here's why. The system is designed this way so that no lender can change or manipulate disclosures later to hide fees or change the terms. So yes, it might feel a little weird to sign something that isn't perfect, but it's completely normal. You're not certifying that everything is accurate right now, and you're not formally agreeing to the loan. You're just confirming that you received the info within that required 3-day window. All right? Let's jump into the good stuff and look at your loan estimate together. All right, here's what your loan estimate looks like. You'll see 3 pages total, but page one is the big picture. At the top, you're going to find the loan term and whether it's a purchase or a refinance. You'll also see, as we go down, your loan amount, the interest rate, and your payment for the mortgage. Below that, you're going to see estimates for taxes and insurance. Those numbers can change a bit. And if things move, we'll finalize those terms later. If you want to set up an impound account so that you're paying taxes and insurance monthly to the lender, and that is not showing as a yes, just let us know and we'll change it. At the very bottom, you have estimates for your cash to close and your closing costs. And again, these numbers are a bit fluid. All right, page two is where all the detail lives. Let's break it down section by section. Section A shows lender charges. That's our fees, like processing and admin fee. You'll also see if you are paying points in order to buy a lower rate. That is prepaid interest. You pay one time in order to capture a lower interest rate. That will show in section A. Section B lists third-party fees you cannot shop for. That's things like appraisal and credit report. These can never go up, but they can be reduced as we get actual costs. So oftentimes you'll see these numbers are slightly overestimated. Section C are the closing costs that you can shop for, like title and escrow fees. Most of the time, you are not going to shop around for this, but you could if you want to. These are pretty standardized costs for all title companies. You'll see section E through H. E covers recording and government fees that go to the city or to the county. Section F is prepaid items like daily interest and homeowners insurance. These are your own costs of ownership that we might need to collect at close. And G shows the escrow setup. This is where a few months of taxes and insurance are collected upfront if you have set up an escrow or an impound account. This is your money. It's held by the lender so that they have enough on hand to pay these bills as they come due. When you refinance, sell the home, or pay off the mortgage, any amount left in this impound or escrow account goes back to you. These funds just sit with the lender to make sure your bills get paid on time if you opt in. H lists the optional owner's title insurance. which I always recommend. It protects your ownership rights to the property. And honestly, I've never had a client actually skip it once they realize what it's for. At the very bottom, you'll see a quick summary of your estimated cash to close. Remember, these numbers are high side estimates. We intentionally over disclose fees because we can always remove or reduce them later, but we can't add new ones. So don't panic if something seems higher than expected. It's supposed to be that way. Now, page 3 is where you'll find the APR. That's your total cost of borrowing expressed as a rate. If one lender shows you a super low rate, but their APR is way higher, that means they're baking in a bunch of junk fees. You'll also see a few other sections here about assumptions, insurance, late payments, and so on. These are just standard disclosures required by law. So that's the quick tour. The main things to remember: these are just initial disclosures and they're not final. Don't stress if info in there is not 100% accurate. We just want to look at the big things: name, social, date of birth, address. Tell us if those are wrong. And then finally, go ahead and acknowledge or sign these so that we can keep the loan moving forward. We will send you a closing disclosure, or your CD, about a week before we close. And that will have the updated accurate numbers. Until then, we're reviewing every line within your file with a fine-tooth comb behind the scenes. So you can relax, focus on responding to the other requests you'll get from us during this process. Thanks for watching, and as always, reach out if you have any questions. We're here to make this as easy as possible.